everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. You turn my morning into dancing. 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 Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything.
Hey, good morning, Rooted Men. Pastor Tom, Firmly Rooted Ministries, and we are in Greendale, Indiana. I am here. Glenn is here, Elder Glenn, Elder Steve, and we have got Elder and Office Manager Cindy here. And why is that? Well, because this is the week that we're supposed to be down in Greendale. Secondly, they're having their first Celebrate Recovery meeting, and it looks like we might have a lot of people here today. So we got a lot of work to do to get ready for that. Going to visit some people, take care of some things around the church and around the parsonage. So going to be a good weekend. Just be praying for us and the Celebrate Recovery that's going to happen this evening. And thank you to Steve Giroux and Matt Ryan, who picked up devotions yesterday. For those of you who are going to pull out a Bible, we're in Mark chapter 10. We're actually at the end of the chapter, verses 46 to 52. And let's see who's on board. It looks like we're live in all the right places, so that's good. I'm on board. Steve, who is on the couch over there drinking some coffee, he's on board checking us out. I'm guessing the video and the audio is working. That's good. I'm out on X. Good morning, Rooted Men. Let's see. Chuck B, good morning. All right. There's a lot more of you out there. Okay. All right. They're hiding. All right. So be it. What's that? Yeah. All right. So, okay. Very good. So let me pull up the reading and let me shrink that. Oh, you can see it. There we go. All right. Let me go to it. So let me just scroll up. As you can remember that Steve took care of James and John. You know, nothing like going to Jesus and telling Jesus that you want to be his right and left hand man. And Steve did a great job on that devotion. Today we look at the blind man, Bartimaeus. One of the unique things is that we have his name, which means most likely he became a follower of Jesus, right? We have a lot of people that he heals, but he doesn't always know their names. Here we have his name. Blind Bartimaeus receives a sight. So let's go through this. Then they came to Jericho. Now, I think it was recently went to an Elevation concert, and Steve Furtick was actually there, and it was really neat because he did a little message on this text, and it was like, yeah, I was sitting there going, yeah, that's right, that's the things that you got to keep thought of when you look at this text. Don't miss the location. They came to Jericho. What do you know about Jericho? And I wish right now this was a live study where you could respond. Jericho was the first place that the children of Israel went after they crossed the Jordan River. And if you recall, they did the whole going around the city for 7 days. On the seventh day, they went around 7 times. They screamed and blew their trumpets and horns, and the walls fell. Right? So just remember that. Back your mind. Jesus is at Jericho. As Jesus and his disciples, together with a large crowd, were leaving the city, so they're leaving Jericho, Jericho is no longer a destroyed city. It's a city that now is under, well, it was under Israel's rule. Now Rome is in charge, but that's not the point. Leaving the city, a blind man named Bartimaeus, which means son of Timaeus, Bar Abbas, son of the father, Bar Abbas. So Bar is always son. And he was sitting by the roadside begging, which is what the lame do. This is part of the culture. We see it even in America, where somebody might be holding up a sign at a corner, or someone who's handicapped is sitting in a wheelchair and holding up a sign wanting some donations. This was just a ritual practice in this day, in which the only way that the hurting and the broken could be taken care of is by people giving offerings. There was no Social Security, Medicaid. There was no government agency that was going to take care of them. People had to take care of them. So he's sitting by the roadside begging. Verse 47, when he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, when he heard, he can't see, but he can hear. I don't know if he's hearing Jesus. I don't know if he's hearing people in the crowd talking about Jesus. He's hearing. He's got 20/20 vision when it comes to his hearing. How about that? And he is hearing that Jesus of Nazareth is near him. And what does he do? He begins to shout. What did they do after they went around the city for 7 times, seventh day? They shouted. And the walls came down. He is shouting, Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. He knows who he is. He's blind, but he knows somewhere out in there, somebody knows somebody who knows Jesus, and he is screaming. I just want to, this is where a pastor wants to pause and say, why aren't we like this guy? Why do we run to booze and pills and sex and other things thinking that somehow that's going to fix our problem when Jesus is here? This blind man is so smart. He's spiritually more in tune than most Christians. Jesus, you are the Son of David. You're the Messiah. You're the promised one. Have mercy on me. It goes back to the Old Testament, Kyrie eleison in the worship service. Have mercy on me. Christ, have mercy on me. Lord, have mercy on me. The people start to rebuke him. Told him to be quiet. Be quiet. He shouts all the more, Son of David, have mercy on me. He is screaming. Here's this crazy blind man screaming for Jesus because he has a need. Again, when are we going to be like this guy? No matter what we're going through, Jesus is right there. Just scream. Wake him up in the boat, right? When are we just going to have how about this one? When are we going to have the vision that this guy has and he's blind? When are we going to wake up and have this kind of vision? I got one need and only got one person who can meet the need, and it's Jesus. So he screams even louder. Guess what? Jesus stopped. The whole procession. Almost like when that woman touched his robe, right? That woman touched his robe and he stopped. Who touched me? And they're going, we all touched you. What are you talking about? We're all crammed in this little road and Who touched me? I felt power come from me. Jesus stops because someone is calling on him. Call upon the Lord in the day of trouble, and he will deliver you. We lift up our voice to the one who can make a difference. Everybody. Jesus heard him and stopped. Why are we going somewhere else to try to get an answer to something that we need when Jesus is there and he hears our voice and he will stop? The very crowd that was telling him to shut up, he tells them, bring him to me. Call him. So they call to the blind man, cheer up, on your feet, he's calling you. The roles are reversed. Jesus is now calling for the blind man. How many people in the crowd? I don't know. Let's say a few hundred. Jesus is walking. They're all talking. What's he going to do next? Where's he going? Some crazy guy out there by a rock is screaming for Jesus. Rather than shut him up, he screams louder. Jesus stops and says, go get that guy and bring him here. I mean, do we really believe that God would do this in real life? Just like this. He would stop and say, hey, Tom's calling out for me. Steve's calling out for me. Woody? Throwing his cloak aside, he jumped to his feet and came to Jesus. You realize what's going on inside of this guy? Because he believed that Jesus is who he is and could do what he did, he's being blessed with the reality that same Jesus is saying, come here, son, come here. Come to me. I heard you. I heard your cry. He's leaping. The guy's blind and he's wanting to run to Jesus. Jesus says, what do you want me to do for you? The blind man says, Rabbi, I want to see. Can we go back to the question? If we're the one in the center of this text right now, and if Jesus right now is saying to you, what do you want me to do for you? I want to ask, because I know we all have something that we want to have done for us. How about stop going to where you are going to get the answer, and why don't you go to Jesus, and what would you do if Jesus would say to you, what do you want me to do for you? I want to what? This man wants to see. What do you want? Jesus says, go. Your faith has healed you. Go. Just as impetuous as you were to call me, I'm telling you to turn around and go. I at first I would say to myself, well, wait a minute, I don't see yet. Take your first step towards going. Take your first step towards believing my words. And as he does so, he says, your faith has healed you. Immediately he received his sight and followed Jesus along the road. There you go. He became a disciple. He began to follow Jesus. His whole life is radically changed. Everything changed for Israel the day those walls came down in Jericho and they realized the God who is for them and not against them. Gentlemen, this is a cry for us to rise up and realize what kind of God we have and who he is and how powerful he is and how much he loves us and how much he's for us and not against us, and stop listening to the lies of the enemy and say to Jesus, have mercy on me. And hear him say, come here. What do you want me to do for you? Lift it up, guys. Whatever that is in your life, in my life, lift it up to him right now, today. What do you want me to do for you? And watch him do it. Watch the God of the universe move heaven and earth. Watch him move heaven and earth. Just because he loves us. Just because we're his sons. All right. Let's say hi to a few more people that jumped on. Steve Skopik, good morning. Chris Connolly, good morning. Bert Reggiani, good morning. Great to have all of you on board. I really hope that this devotion was a blessing to you. Let me get to where I need to get. There I am. Blessings on your day. Make it a firmly rooted day, and may someone see Jesus in us today. Peace.